Even after all these years, I still get requests to make a video about how to get a Godrun in Noita, so here it is. At this point, any run that I do could be a Godrun if I want it to be. Sure, there's always a small chance, no matter how experienced you are, to get Noited, but there are definitely a series of things you can do in order to turn any normal run into a Godrun. This video is, of course, for intermediate players who can consistently get a win down below at the work after fighting Colmy. If you're looking for more basic tips, while this video will definitely have some of that, I have another video here that is spoiler-free and should help newer players. So I'm just gonna go through my own run step by step, showing even some optional things you can do if you want to help cut down on time. And this run isn't amazing, some bad things happen, but I wanted to use this run for this video in order to double down on the fact that you can turn any run into a Godrun. Period.
Now get out there and kill, kill, kill.
Step 1 is to get on top of the mountain. You can do this with any starting loadout. I start with a Spark Bolt and Unstable Crystal, but Magic Missile, Dynamite, Firebolt, and even the normal bomb will work. However, the normal bomb is definitely the most difficult to do this with because you're going to have to practice juggling the bomb with a couple kicks. Moreover, if you do start with a normal bomb, then you're going to have to also start with a Spark Bolt or an Energy Sphere in order to dig through the snow and ice of the floating island to reach the orb, which is our ultimate goal here. So if you start with the starting bomb and you do not start with a Spark Bolt or an Energy Sphere, then you're going to have to walk all across the world through the desert to the orb on the top of the pyramid. So although a lot of people prefer to start with the bomb, here's a really good example for why that might not be the best. Anyway, we don't have to worry about that because we started with Unstable Crystal, so I'm going to shove one in here, blow that up for a little foothold, get over the cliff, blow a hole in the bottom of the floating island, levitate up there in order to access the orb, which is exactly what we want to focus on in the beginning of a run, getting as much HP as possible. We also have access to an Emerald Tablet, which is of course one of the best items in the entire game, and a really good weapon, allowing us to sometimes get double gold trick kills, especially if we learn how to tablet kick, which is basically just dropping a tablet and kicking and timing those two inputs so that as soon as you drop it, your foot makes contact and kicks the tablet very hard in, hopefully, the direction of an enemy. Gold is important early on as well, but make sure you don't sacrifice your life in order to get this, because your HP is the most valuable resource. Noita is basically a hardcore survival game, and until you get a consistent form of healing, every single HP is of utmost importance. Some other items that we're looking for within the first 3 biomes, the mines, the coal pits, and the snowy depths, are broken wands. Make sure you pick up at least one of these, because you might be able to get a really good wand with it later. A flask of ambrosia. If you see one of these, consider carrying it with you. I'm gonna take it because we're gonna use it pretty soon. And the flask of either unstable or normal teleportation. If you don't find any of this, then there's actually a cool little trick that I like to do using the power of alchemy. All you need is some flummuxium, which is also pretty common in the mines. If you don't find any flummuxium, you could make flummuxium with worm pheromone, also very common in the mines, and worm blood, which obviously can be obtained from one of the worm eggs on the tree. Anyway, I'm just gonna pour some flummuxium out of my flask to make room for some oil and some blood. Now shake it up real good, and the mixture will quickly create unstable polymorphine. Within the safety of the Holy Mountain, we're just gonna pour some of that out and then jump in it in order to eventually polymorph into one of these guys, the Hisi Alchemists. Then we're just gonna go over to the water and throw some flasks in there, and that's the flask we're looking for right there, teleportation. This process could take a few minutes, but the pool of potential polymorph forms, or the enemies that you can polymorph into with unstable poly, is pretty small, so it actually doesn't take that long to do this. Anyway, now we just continue on our run like normal. Very importantly, if you do not really need to heal or refresh any spells, do not grab the heart or the spell refresh in the Holy Mountains. They might come in very handy when you do really need them. That's step number 2. And if you see some good spells, look, we have Luminous Drill, we have Triggers, also very useful, and then I'm gonna grab this Return. But first, perks. Make absolutely certain you do not grab Gold is Forever in a Godrun. It will crash your game later on. You could get rid of it using the Nullifying Altar, but don't worry, you're gonna get gold. This run that I'm on doesn't really have the best perks until later on, but perks that you are definitely going to want to keep your eyes open for a God run are perk lotteries, of course, S tier, especially if you get it early on in a run to maximize its potential. Tinker with Wands Everywhere is beyond S tier. It completely changes the game and is highly recommended. Shields are really good for a little bit of extra protection. You're going to want to stack up some extra lives eventually, depending on what you plan to do in this God run. You're definitely going to want Saving Grace eventually. You don't need that in the beginning of the run. We could get that a lot later if we want to, because it's not really at its most useful until you have healing. Similarly, you're going to want to eventually stack a bunch of stainless armors, but that can wait until later as well. And then, of course, we have all of the immunity perks. As for other perks you're really going to want in a God run, don't worry, we'll get into that a little bit later in the video. For now, let's move on to step 3. Getting out of the Holy Mountains without collapsing them. Obviously, I could just use the teleportation to get out, but I want to save that for something a little bit later. So I'm going to make use of the Spark Bolt with Trigger and return in order to get out. But there are many ways to get out of the Holy Mountain without triggering the collapse, such as a simple teleport bolt or just using polymorphine to bypass the triggers. We do this so that we can continuously enter and exit the Holy Mountains in order to edit wands, unless you find the Tinker with Wands Everywhere perk. Now, inside of this biome, the Snowy Depths, there should be several large worms attacking everything and anything they can, and getting attacked in return, dripping their blood all over the place. It's time now to fill our bellies with as much of this worm blood as we possibly can, because we're gonna head to the far western edge of this region and enter the darkness of the magical temple. In here, not only can you find possibly a nice wand, just make sure it doesn't kill you, but you might be able to find one of these guys, the Masters of Wounding. Yeah, if you know, you know. If you don't, you're about to. This is the first of 2 optional tricks that I'm gonna show you that you can perform quite easily if you want to in order to give yourself a head start as far as HP is concerned. And this is the heartbreak trick. We're going to use the ambrosia, the heartbreak mage itself, and the heart inside the nearby orb in order to multiply our max HP. So what I'm going to do is basically just clear out the orb room of all other enemies, and then we want to lure the Master of Wounding itself over to here. And using the ambrosia, I'm going to make sure that I don't take any damage during this process. And then we want to allow this enemy to hit us as many times as possible in order to reduce our max HP as low as it will go. In my case, that is 2. Then, while all these debuffs are active, grab the heart, hide for a minute, and then when all of these debuffs have finally worn off, our max HP will have multiplied. In my case, to 1000. Now keep in mind that this has been in the game for a very long time. The developers know about it. They balanced it so that you can't get thousands of HP at one time, and then they kept it in the game as a feature. If you think that it's a little bit too OP, just go around the world collecting more hearts. Oh, and keep in mind that the Heartbreak Mage might not spawn here. You might have to wait until the jungle to do this. Anyway, moving on. At this point, because I took a bunch of damage in the Snowy Depths, I'm just gonna grab the heart to full heal quickly. And now, progressing to Hisi Base is where I'm gonna be making use of the teleportation and the Broken Wand. The Broken Wand we're gonna throw on the anvil in the lower right corner of the biome in order to maybe get a really good wand with potentially some really good spells on it. So this is why I say to carry at least one Broken Wand with you in one of your 4 item slots. Next, I'm just gonna first make use of the Hisi Healer and this nice stationary turret right here. Just kick the turret, it can't hit you at all, and just let the healer try to heal it. It's like one of my favorite things in the game. There you go. Just turn Hisi Base into your personal healing cave. Anyway, now the shop can be on either the right side of this biome or the left side. So you're gonna have to just explore to find it. And then above the shop is this secret area where we're gonna use the teleportation. However, yep, you can't script this. This particular thing has only ever happened to me twice. This is the second time this has ever happened to me. And it just so happens that it happened during the recording of this video. So, you know, adjust your strategy, pivot, and progress. Because I have some somewhat decent digging, I just dug to the eye room instead. This area is one of the few areas in the entire game world where you can find some of the best spells in the game, such as Circle of Vigor. But I found the duck.
Whack.
Duck in hand, or on wand, I should say. We're gonna dig into the dragon cave along the right wall of the underground jungle. Just like the anvil in Hisi Base is potentially a really good way to get a good wand, killing the dragon boss is another good way. So my wand loadout is a pretty simple trigger into damage and short-range homing projectiles, and ducks are actually really good. Now let's take a peek at the wand that... Oh... Wow. In the vault, I find a Bloodlust spell, which is going to be really important for something else I want to show you a little bit later. And also, as you can see, I do have explosion immunity, finally one immunity, but I don't have fire immunity. But I have over 1,000 max HP. When you have more max HP, the damage from damage over time effects, such as fire, procs faster or much larger. So if you don't have fire immunity by this point, especially in the vault, it could be very, very deadly. So make sure you have water with you still, or ambrosia, or anything else like blood to maybe put out that fire. And finally, at the bottom of the world, make sure you don't reroll perks too much if you plan on breaking the perk reroll machines. However, fire immunity is well worth the reroll, so yes, I'm happy that I did that. And now, whether we killed the boss or not, we're gonna head back up and find my first healing wand of this run. But for now, let's go up and fight the triangle boss. This boss is, along with the eye room next to Hisi Base, one of the few areas in the game where you can find any spell. So you always want to try to take out the triangle boss just because it might drop Circle of Vigor, which is the best healing spell in the entire game. It renders any other method of healing completely moot. So if you find Circle of Vigor anywhere in your run, definitely go out of your way to take it. Don't kill yourself obtaining it, but just make sure you get it. Don't worry about the fact that it only has 2 uses. We're gonna make that infinite. Anyway, my triangle boss did not really drop anything that I want at the moment, so I'm gonna grab that healing wand and let's fix it up so it can actually hit me. And it just so happens that I have a Bloodlust spell here for that purpose. I could have also used piercing, but I hadn't found any up to this point. It does 65 damage to me, so I just gotta make sure that I have at least more than that when I go to heal. And now I'm just gonna collect some more teleportation so that I can use that to return to the previous floors easily, and I don't have to use my luminous drill wand to slowly dig up because I haven't found any black holes or white holes. And, you know, there is the tower you can go into as well, but it's one of the more dangerous areas in the game, and unless you have polymorph immunity, I wouldn't really chance it. I am going to show you a very easy way to get to the wands at its top, though, in a little while. Anyway, yeah, I'm just going to teleport all the way up, cross the tree. Let's grab the evil eye right now. And now, see this little building in the background in front of the mountain? We're going to line ourselves up directly with that. So right around here. And then I'm gonna dig straight down here, and this will take us directly to the alchemist boss. Learning how to easily defeat this boss is bar none the most important thing you can do when learning how to turn any run into a god run. But in short, explosives and plasma work wonders. That's because this boss drops and unlocks the Greek letter spells on death. Some of those Greek letter spells grant any spell with charges infinite charges, which means infinite digging with black holes, white holes, or any holes, as well as infinite healing. It's at this point right now where your little baby run has graduated high school. We just gotta go through those college classes real fast, so a few more things left to do. I'm gonna grab the crystal key and complete that quest real quick, because why not? So we just have to trigger all 4 of the music machines and throw the key in the air while we do so that it listens to them. And if you want a walkthrough of this quest, it's pretty easy, but I have a video on that. Just look for the chests of light and dark. At the end, I'm just going to throw the key at the coral chest and unlock a couple of divide by spells. Now, falling all the way back to the planet's surface, I am going to skip this orb for now. I'll probably pick it up later. And we're going to actually go into the pyramid and fight the pyramid boss. Let's take the scenic route deeper in. Just avoid any enemies. I mean, at this point, you should be able to kill anything in here pretty easily. Especially if you have as much HP as I do right now, like nothing is really bothering me at this point. And just to illustrate that, I'm gonna actually just use the eye to bypass all of the iframes of this boss and just kill it quicker while tanking all the damage from it and its babies because whatever, why not? There's no difficulty here for me at this point. And that's exactly what we came here for, the Nala spell, which this boss has a chance to drop. For this next part, because I don't yet have the Tinker with Wands Everywhere perk or the ability from the Wand Core from the Master of Masters boss, I'm gonna drop a couple of my wands and I'm gonna head into the desert to the Watchtower. I just want to illustrate how easy it is to get down into the underground desert right here. You can actually just use the eye to pretty quickly dissolve all of the lava in this little arrow-shaped room. And at the bottom, you could just use a few explosives just to get into the underground desert. And the reason why we're here, accessing Wand Mart. And if you're looking for certain spells and items, this is a really good place to look. In my case, infinite black holes, baby. So with that infinite digging above the essence of Earth on the right side of the world, I'm just gonna dig up and to the left a little bit until I access the gold room, which if you need a lot of money at this point in the game, you can collect all of that. It takes a little while, but there you go. And now that we have infinite digging, infinite healing, and a bunch of money, it's time to go to parallel worlds. You can come here much earlier if you want. Sometimes I do. Very importantly, remember that when you're in parallel worlds, you do not want to go through any of the portals to the Holy Mountains. They'll take you back to the main world. But the reason why we're here is to not only find some spells we still need, but also to obtain all of the perks that we haven't already obtained. An extra life, and unlimited spells is gonna now allow me to make unlimited ducks on my duck egg wand. While you might ignore this perk for any normal run, Iron Stomach is an incredible perk for Godruns. Why? Because it allows you to eat an infinite amount of these guys' corpses, which gives you infinite polymorph immunity. Next, the Telekinetic Kick perk allows you to complete some of the secrets a lot more easily. So if you want to get some of those done in your God run, then I definitely recommend that. And if you plan to break the reroll machines, now's the time to do it. If you don't know how to break the reroll machines and you want to know, you can watch this video that I made a while back, and it will teach you everything you need to know. But the Cliff Notes version is that you have to load in at least 39 different reroll machines in order to keep that price of rerolls down. After rerolling 39 times, the reroll price will break, allowing you a huge amount of rerolls for free. So using this will allow you to definitely get all the perks you need. Anyway, while also in parallel worlds, make sure you check all the eye rooms because you can find some amazing spells like this. Summon Tygasova. And again, maybe even Circle of Vigor. For our last trick, we're gonna need some of these. This spell right here. Weakening Curse projectiles, and Weakening Curse electricity. At this point in the run, these are my wand builds. Pretty simple stuff. I do have a parallel world travel wand at the bottom there. Perk-wise, my immunities are just explosion immunity, fire immunity, melee immunity, and toxic immunity from gas blood, leaving electricity immunity, and of course there is no immunity perk for projectiles. So let's meet at the location of the triangle boss and then enter the magical temple beyond, and then eventually the wizard's den, filled with every different kind of master. Blindness, the poly mages, but we are looking for this guy right there, the weakening mage. Very importantly, remember to eat poly mage corpses. Now we're going to be performing the weakening trick. We need any projectile along with boomerang or anything that will allow the projectile to come into contact with us. And then bloodlust or piercing to allow it to hit us. And then the weakening curses, projectile and electricity. Now we're just going to make sure that we get hit by the weakening mage. You can clear out the area so nothing else bothers you during this process. And then you wait until the weakening debuff has 4 seconds left on its timer. And then quickly shoot and hit yourself with your own debuffs. When it wears off, you will have become a little bit more resistant to that damage type. In our case, projectiles and electricity. 25% actually. So we're just going to repeat this 4 more times, at the end of which all projectile damage will heal us, including plasma because it's projectile damage. And of course, we could sit in our own electrified hot tub to heal as well. This works for any damage type which there's a weakening curse for, so it explosions as well, and melee. Oh, and that damage that Deadly Heal does is actually projectile damage, so now it doesn't do any damage at all to us. It just straight up heals us for quite a lot pretty quickly. As one last trick, I'm just going to show you how to get the tower wands very easily from even the beginning of a run. All you need is to go down to the bottom of the pyramid, into the sand cave, and then you could do this with invisibility if you're really careful, the perk, or just invisiblium, the liquid, or you just need the ability to be able to kill the Hisi in here easily enough. A lot of them might even be on fire already, and it's really not that far down to the bottom, where you can find the orb room. You can pick up the orb if you would like to, but over here on the left-hand side, right against this left-hand side of the orb room chunk, if you dig straight down using black holes, loomies, even just the earthstone and the evil eye, there's actually no damage field underneath the cursed rock right here. So as long as you don't touch the cursed rock, because it'll still do contact damage, as long as you don't touch it, you will take no damage right here in this spot. So even if you only have 100 HP, you can get in here if you have a way to dig through. And then you can get any one of the tower wands if you want. A lot of people opt for the Wand of Swiftness. I personally think the Wand of Multitudes is the best, but whichever one you want, there you go. You can do that in any of the towers in any of the parallel worlds. And at this point, you can pretty much say you have a Godrun. Remember, both the Heartbreak trick and the Weakening trick are optional. All they do is the Heartbreak trick just is a shortcut to gaining a lot of HP, but you'll eventually get way more than this anyway. And the Weakening trick is just a replacement for immunity perks that you might lack, and also just another way to heal yourself. But if you have Circle of Vigor, then you don't need this at all. I do, however, recommend that you make a lot of use of eating polymorph mage corpses to gain polymorph immunity, using the Iron Stomach perk to gain way more than you otherwise would be able to. Because polymorphine, even in a god run, is a run ender. It doesn't matter if you have millions upon millions or even infinite HP. If you get turned into a sheep, anything will kill you in seconds. To recap, in the early stages of a run, focus on gaining as much HP as you can. Gold will come later. Get your damage wand going. Useful items are broken wands, as well as flasks of ambrosia and teleportation in order to tank damage and easily access the eye room. Don't use the hearts or refreshes in Holy Mountains unless you absolutely need to, and learn how to leave and re-enter the Holy Mountains without collapsing them. Get creative. There are many ways to do so. Once you have good damage and feel confident, head up and kill the Alchemist boss. Try to build a travel wand and gain the abilities to dig through anything and heal. Go to Parallel Worlds in order to find all the spells and perks you need, breaking the perk reroll machines if you want to. Also, perform the Heartbreak and or Weakening tricks if you want to. At this point, you pretty much have a god run. But remember to eat Polymage corpses. Thank you guys for watching. I hope it helps, and thank you very much to all my patrons and channel members for your support. I hope you have a great day, guys, and I'll see you soon. Happy noiting.